Is the crash over? Are we about to see a bounce, or could we potentially see Bitcoin fall even lower? In today's video, we're going to be discussing the likelihood of a continuation lower and our price targets. Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the recent correction for Bitcoin and whether or not this correction is only just getting started or if it is coming to an end. Could we see Bitcoin drop even lower? If so, how low? And could we see a bounce develop? So, we're going to be going over the charts from a technical and a structural perspective, the macro and the short term. Before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos on Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion. Pure, raw TA. If that is the kind of content you're interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the third link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in joining our VIP channel, you can find more information in the pinned comment of the free channel. You'll get access to updates, charts, analysis, but more importantly, exclusive trading signals with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, and setups. You'll also get access to our group chats, our general chat, our trading chat and education chat, our trade setup chat, our news, our help, and our video chat. Again, if you're interested in more information, go ahead and contact us. So let's go ahead, guys, and jump on into the video. So first and foremost, Bitcoin has seen quite an aggressive correction from that 48k range. And if you've been following the channel for the last year, for the last 2 years, you would have known exactly 1 year ago today, the 14th of January 2023, we officially stated publicly on this channel and on Telegram the bear market was over, and we accumulated during this crash period, during this 16.5k to 18k low. We've set at 19k on the 14th. The bear market was over, with our first target being at 32k. We then set a monthly candle close above 32k as per our monthly solid line at 32k. This black line would result in a continuation to reach the dotted trend line as we have seen in the past. The dotted trend line was at 48k. We perfectly touched 48k. We then said over the last few days we're looking for a liquidity grab above 48k to then result in a correction for the next few weeks, potentially taking us down to 40 to 38k, moving into the next bull run, of course. So a lot has happened over the last year. If you've been following, a big congratulations, and it's been an absolute pleasure going through the charts with you. So let's smash forward into another year. So let's start off the video, guys, in the market data. How are we looking? 24-hour liquidations are down a considerable amount. We're down 79%, sitting at a total of 71 million, with 35 and 36 across those longs and shorts. 24-hour volume down 53%, sitting at a total of just under 90 billion. And of course, this is pretty expected as Bitcoin has seen that large correction, and within the last 24 hours, we have been more or less just consolidating and pressing sideways. We're discussing this in our short-term analysis today. So with that reduction in volatility and overall movement in price action, we see a reduction in liquidations, and we see a reduction in overall volume. Moving over to the broader market, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, guys. Let's start with the DXY, however. DXY is looking okay. Like we said, we have broken out of this major 2-month-long downtrending diagonal resistance. We do still need to see a break above this horizontal level of resistance, sitting around 103. If we do want to see the DXY actually continue back upwards, this would be bearish for stocks and bearish for cryptocurrency, guys. We do have a slight advantage, or should I say a slight probability in favor of a continuation upwards here, as we have seen a significant reduction in overall momentum, again breaking positive on momentum over here, and of course breaking out of that overall downtrend we have been in the last 2 months. For the bulls to really take control and for the price to really start moving upwards, we do need to break above that 103 level. Until then, any rejections from this level could result in a short-term correction back down into support. Looking at the broader markets, S&P 500 is still looking good. We do see that weekly candle close. We want to see what happens over here. It looks like that weekly candle close is not going to be closing above the opening price of the prior weekly, sitting around 50 cents to $1 underneath that price on the S&P 500. So again, guys, we do need to close a weekly above this legal high to actually continue to price upwards. Until then, we could be just seeing exhaustion develop at resistance. Looking at the Dow Jones, the same thing happening over here, guys. Potential exhaustion developing at resistance. The local resistance we are challenging is the psychological level of around 38,000. We do need to break a weekly candle above here to see a continuation upwards. So you're seeing a common pattern develop now already, with the Dow Jones and S&P at local resistances, at their all-time high resistances in fact, and potentially consolidating, which means a reduction in overall volume and volatility after a large surge in volume and volatility, which is representative of bullish exhaustion. While the DXY is potentially moving upwards, we are kind of in this environment now where we could see potential pullbacks develop from, so we do have to keep our eyes on that. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. A quick word from Bitget BingX. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, Bitget and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the Bitget link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWhale exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, Bitget and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. Okay guys, over into Bitcoin, and like we said, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be discussing the likelihood of this correction taking us lower and what it really means. So starting off, guys, on the higher time frame, let's take a look at this chart. There are 2 or 3 really important levels we are watching out for. Number one is, of course, that major level at 48K, this 48 to 46K level, which is a major area of resistance. Of course, this is our primary level. The next level we're looking out for is our major area of support. This is going to be the 40K, okay, to the 38K level. And below that, we have our green line, which is our major monthly / yearly uptrend, right? This is our major uptrend we have been in ever since January, and then retested all the way in September 2023, validating those 2 points, actually developing the overall trend we have been remaining on the higher time frame since that date. These are the 3 most important levels. So let's start off with the most bearish scenario. Keep it nice and easy. If at any point we see a correction which takes Bitcoin underneath 32,000, okay, which is the confluence point between the major yearly uptrending diagonal trend line as well as a major area of support on the higher time frame, this level over here, that would be the most bearish scenario we could think of for Bitcoin, which would result in the yearly uptrend that we have developed during 2023 breaking and flipping bearish. This could send the price action into a monthly downtrend. This would be very, very bad. Not only would we be breaking a major level of horizontal support, diagonal support, but if we go over to a higher time frame chart, such as the weekly chart, and bring up, let's take a look at the Gaussian channel per se. On the weekly, we can see the Gaussian channel, okay, actually let's go to monthly, the Gaussian channel, we will be breaking back underneath the Gaussian channel on the monthly, and on the weekly, we will be likely coming back down to retest it. We have not seen something similar to this, which on the monthly would result in a break back below after breaking back above and, more importantly, breaking above that 32K and retesting that dollar trend line. So we'll see some technical validations kind of be tested and situations that we have not seen in prior cycles actually start to develop if we do see a full-blown retracement underneath 32,000. So from a high time frame structural perspective, that would be the worst case scenario for Bitcoin. A correction that would take us back down to retest this zone before we continue back upwards. Now, technically, although this would be worst case scenario, this would still be macro bullish as 32K will have held as support. It is only if we break below 32K and this major uptrending diagonal trend line where we would be really concerned for the macro direction of Bitcoin after that point. The most likely scenario for Bitcoin right now, like we've been saying for the last few days, is a rejection from 46 to 48 and a continuation to our nearest level of support, which is the 40 to 38K range. This is a very important major level of support, which acts as kind of that midline between the 48 and the 32 monthly levels. Remember, this is a monthly resistance, this is a monthly resistance, this is not a monthly resistance. This is simply just a weekly resistance, which acts as the midline between these two monthly levels. It holds no monthly significance, but it is still a support. And if we do look at rejections, we look at rejections from one area of liquidity into the next area of liquidity, which is going to be that 40 to 38K level. So the best case scenario for Bitcoin from this correction would be on the higher time frame, a drop into this range where we then would consolidate and bounce back above. And finally, the 48K level, guys. If we break above that 48K level, that of course would be clearing a major high time frame level of resistance. We would love to see a strong continuation upwards to even retest these all-time highs once we do break above that level. The most likely scenario upon a breakout would be an initial move to around 32,000. You can see 52,000 is that gap in the VRPV. We would likely see an initial move to around 52,000. We would then correct, maybe retest this level, and then continue on upwards. That would be the most favorable scenario. How can we foresee that coming? Let's take a look at the momentum, guys. If we take a look at this 3-day downtrending RSI trend line, if you do see the RSI break upwards of this trend line, that would be a pretty strong indication Bitcoin's going to at least move back into retest this level. And I do believe if we do move back into this level of resistance, we will be breaking through that resistance. So enough about the high time frame, guys. Let's talk about the short term and discuss what is happening deeper on those levels. So of course, for us to even potentially go down to that 38 to 40K support, we have some pretty major short-term supports we have to break below and could potentially develop bounces from. So again, a bounce is not off the cards right now as Bitcoin is still in a 2 to 3 month uptrend. If we take a look at the current price action and the current trend, this black trend line is reflective as a uptrend that we developed at the end of October. So we've got October, we've got November, we've got December, and there were a couple days in January. It's about a 3-month-long uptrend, very close to a 3-month-long uptrend over here. A very important level for Bitcoin to hold. If we do break below this uptrending support line, we could see a few things develop. First and foremost, we'll be looking for a strong initial move down into this area of liquidity, which is just above 40,000, around 40,500. This is where Bitcoin will initially retest an area of support which we have retested in the past and decide whether or not we will be dipping into that 40 to 38K range. If we fail to hold above this area around 40.5, we will likely see a breakdown into the 38 to 40K range, filling that gap on the VRPV, entering a massive area of support that we retested for a very long time before we eventually broke toward the upside. So that is what we're expecting toward the downside, guys. Now, as you know, support is support until it is not. So targets of 32K, targets of 30K, 36K, these targets here are targets that are unprobable based on where the price action is currently sitting. Only if we lose 38k will we then be looking for lower targets. We have an area of diagonal support, an area of horizontal support, and an area of weekly high time frame support between 40 to 38. These three levels of support need to be broken for Bitcoin to then enter a weekly downtrend that could take us as low as 33 to 32,000. Very unlikely as of right now, guys. So could a bounce develop from this point? The answer is yes. There are two places a bounce can develop from. Number one, of course, the major uptrending diagonal trend line. We have bounced from this level numerous times in the past. The only differences in these bounces and potentially another bounce would be we had not exhausted on the high time frame before we retested these levels. We very much still had upward accumulation this entire time until we reached this 48k range, where we then have now printed an exhaustion pattern. We've lost momentum, and now we are coming back down to retest this point from a point of weakness rather than a point of strength. So that is one negative we are looking at this trend line. However, again, support is support until it is not. I would be looking for longs personally at this level with very tight stop losses, potentially even longs in this range with very tight stop losses for a bounce back upwards. If we do bounce back upwards, the most important level we do need to clear is going to be that 45.5k level again, this horizontal black trend line. Breaking above that level is still going to act as the trigger point for a continuation back upwards. If we're looking primarily at the 6 hour, we are sitting underneath that POC. So the overall trend on the short term is still very much downwards. Let's go down to a 1 hour chart and discuss the immediate price action. So as we're going to see over here, guys, we are forming a small little consolidation pattern. Not all that much structure going on over here. We can see we are printing slightly lower highs and slightly higher lows. Again, overall, we can see momentum is slowly moving upwards. We have to take a look at the volume over here. So we have the CVD. More importantly, if that does load, we can see the CVD is, again, it's not showing all that much strength, guys. We're basically just moving sideways over here. This is a very classic compression pattern. So what we are looking over here now for is going to be our highs and lows of the range. So applying our horizontal trend lines for triggers low and high. Breaking above this level over here would likely result in a continuation upwards. We're looking for around 45k. And again, if we do lose this local low, we could assume we would fill this gap on the VRP, moving back down to retest that low that we formed on that liquidity grab, which would actually perfectly line up with that major uptrend. So right now we are in a chop zone, and the chop zone we can confirm via those liquidations are basically evenly split in longs and shorts, meaning people are getting torn in both directions over here. Sometimes the best thing to do is to not try overcomplicate it and just wait for the chart to tell you where the price is going to go. Don't try to predict things all the time, guys. When you see stuff like this, it is very choppy. It is better to wait for the price to break upwards. Okay, we've got a validation. We've got a very high chance Bitcoin will go upwards. Perfect. We'll put our long in over here. We'll put our stop loss quite tight, 45k. Hit it, okay? And the same for the downside. We don't have to be rolling the dice all the time. We can simply let the price action tell us what is going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, guys. Actually, I'll mention one more thing, guys. On the macro chart, if we do take a look at this chart, it is played out absolutely perfectly. I hate to be the one that brags, but there has been really no one out there has predicted these levels as perfectly as we have on this channel. And I don't want to say that. If you want to go back and look at our videos from a year and a half ago, we have not changed a single one of these levels. 48k we've been talking about for like a year and a half. We've been talking about 48k being a significant level. We were looking for a retest of 48k ever since we broke above 32k. And guys, we're telling you now, we have not seen a monthly candle close above that dotted trend line until only after the halving. The halving event is in April. Therefore, we should not expect a monthly candle close above 48k prior to April. That means we have a 1.5 to 2 month window where Bitcoin could consolidate and potentially move down, which is why I believe and why I came to the conclusion that I would expect a rejection from 48k, because a break over this level would be premature according to historical price action data. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I hope you have a fantastic day, and bye.